Hello, guys. Welcome to this special episode of the channel with the Unknown Years show. And this is just the show where we're going to be talking about testimony. We're going to be talking about people's lives. I'm just going to have different guests on to just talk with me about different things. You know, maybe it's a Bible study, maybe it's a testimony one day. And today I have my good friend Hannah. From church, from New King Church. Like, check out New King Church in the description. A really good church. So yeah, how's it going? Like, how's everything going? Welcome to the show.
Thanks. I like that my introduction was that I'm from church. Like, that is where I exist in perpetuity.
I know, right?
It's scarily accurate. So,
Yeah,
it's all good.
yeah, you gotta categorize it, right? I guess,
Yeah.
like, just from church. So today, I guess we're just gonna be talking about music, right? And worship, which is like a big thing in church and a big thing in New King as well. And you're on the worship team, right? So we just want to talk about your journey, like to get in there and what it was like for you. And yeah, let's just explain to our viewers, just comment down below if you have any comments in the premiere video. Just let us know what you think. I'll be down there just answering your questions. So yeah. So let me just ask you firstly, like, where did your love for worship music begin? Like,
That's a throwback. Oh, I don't know. It feels like it's been there from like as long as I can remember. And yeah, I have like a very, I think like a broad idea of what worship is. So it's only been very recently that I've been leading more worship. So with New King and then with some other places and stuff. Um, but just like the love to worship, like the whole like feeling in my being of worshiping. I would say like really young, like 4 or 5,
oh
wanting
wow.
to do that. And yeah.
What instruments? Like, because you sing as well as doing like different. You can play different instruments.
I can play some. I sing, and piano has been kind of my main instrument. I feel like every musician's always like, I'm not that good. So I'm not gonna say that, but yeah, I
Wow.
make a joyful noise.
Well, you're definitely good. I can attest that you're definitely good at what you do. I mean,
Working on it. I actually quarantine has been like really good for that because it's forced me to like work on some more music theory kind of stuff, which is really good. And then I also play. I'm learning how to play guitar. I play the ukulele. That's
mhm.
about it.
Oh wow, wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember like when I came to New King, like I was kind of new to like serving and stuff like that. And I joined the cleaning team with you. And like I remember my first day when like we came and I think Jenna was there too. Shout out to you, Jenna. But we like we did whatever and you guys were like, oh, we're gonna like make some music afterwards. I was like, oh, like what's like what is this about? Like, this is like and I just kind of stuck around and like it was just so amazing. Like I don't know, like I just feel like your passion for for just being in the church was what stood out to me. Like it wasn't even just about like the worship, it was just being in the church was just it just felt like such a spiritual moment. Like, could you describe what that is? Like, how you feel when?
Yeah. So if I had to name like two of my favorite places, it would either be out in the woods or like in an empty sanctuary. There is something about it. And I know that God, right, He doesn't reside in a place.
Yeah.
He resides in us. But there is something about a quiet sanctuary. There's a holy hush there that, oh, I love. So it was really great when I joined New King. Because I knew I wanted to get involved pretty quickly. Because I think maybe it was the second week I was there, I sent Ben an email and was just like, I will literally clean your toilets. Like, can I just please do something for you guys? Which is great. It worked out well. They gave me a key, which was dangerous because now I get to break in a lot.
Yeah. Now I got a key too now. Should I even be saying that? I don't even know.
Don't take it back. Yeah.
I don't.
But it's great. And that kind of started more back in college. I was involved with a prayer community. And there was a church that was really close to my school. And they had built, it was like this beautifully big church and everything. And on the fourth floor, it was like up in the steeple, they had this prayer room. And unfortunately, like a lot of the people, the congregants in the church weren't using it. And so they gave it to the prayer community and was like, you guys can access this. Here's literally keys to the church building. And so that, like, that love for like empty sanctuaries just kind of started at that point, because I would go up after, like, just after my day or whatever, and we did these things called doorkeeping, which you sit at the bottom of where the main sanctuary doors are, and then just open them with the key for people who would come up to pray. And so I would take the 11 p.m. shift, and because we closed at midnight, and that way I could kick everyone out, and then I would have the prayer room to myself, which was amazing. And I think that's kind of where I started going into more of like when I was actually playing the piano without I started playing more by ear and stuff because I was never that great with like keys and stuff. Like the notes, but playing more by ear, and then just starting to like do it more spontaneously, so like being led by the Holy Spirit, but like what I was singing, and just started singing my prayers. And I would say that's kind of where a lot of it began, was these really late night worship sets with just me and Jesus, and it was great.
yeah, because I've never seen, like, when I was there and we was doing the clear and I saw what was happening right now, it was just so inspiring for me. Like, I don't know if I've ever told you this, but it definitely was, like, just to see you in the church and just like wanting to be there is something that I had never really seen before. Like, it's like, you know, people want to be in church when the church service on Sunday, but like going out of your way to go to a church and do that. I mean, even like you'd be one of the last people to leave church on Sunday, just purely because you love being there.
I love it so much. It's
And I remember sitting there just watching you and Jenna. Like, you and Jenna were just there, and I was just playing the drum thing. I don't even know what it's called. And like, I was just there, and it was just like so amazing. Just the Spirit was just in the room, and God was just really there in that moment. And like, me and Jenna kind of had somewhere to go, but you just wanted to be there, you know, just be there with God. And like, that's just so amazing. Such dedication, you know.
It's weird because like I kind of understand when people are like, that's weird, like, why would you want to do that? Like, oh, you must be like so fiery and passionate for the Lord. But for me, I feel almost selfish about it because there's such a joy and a peace, and I don't know how to describe it. Like, have you ever heard the term thin places?
Yeah,
where like I don't know how I feel about this, but like there's places in between heaven and earth that are thin, and you're supposedly like able to feel the presence of the Lord more, or spiritual things more. And for me, like, being out in, like, on a mountain or in the church with the Lord is like, that's a thin place for me, because I know it's not about feelings, but that's where I feel his presence. And it's like, it's my, like, the little reality that I walk in every day of, like, just, I don't know, the mundane life. Like, there's this place where it's like, I can see the bigger reality when I'm worshiping, when I'm when I'm like actually worshiping, when I'm pouring my heart out before the Lord, I don't know. It's like a glimpse of heaven
Mm.
while still on earth, and I don't know. So it sounds weird, I think, but for me,
I don't
it's
think that's
literally
weird
the
at all.
best part of my week.
I don't think it's weird at all. Like I just think I find it amazing because even like worshiping sometimes is something that I struggle with purely because like on an anxious level. And I feel like through dealing with my anxiety, it kind of helped me to truly just like worship God with all my heart and just it does give you a picture of heaven because I mean that's what heaven's all about, right? Like,
Yeah.
worshiping God and just like so we gotta like it while we're here as well. Um, so that was before you was on the worship team. So could you tell us like what your journey was like going to the worship team? What were the struggles? Like were there any struggles or was it like smooth sailing?
Okay, let's completely smooth sailing. That's great. So anxiety. That's interesting that you bring it up because that's something that I have consistently struggled with for a lot of years, and for me, it's just very generalized anxiety. So it's not necessarily like thinking about the future or specific things that I can like overcome. It's just like this haze of I don't even know, just
Yeah.
some fear and like very physically, very felt. Um,
Mm.
and I think what it is that worship for so many years, like that was the place that I was the most honest and like at the most raw, most vulnerable with the Lord. And just the thought of being being in front of other people while in that place felt very exposing and just like
Yeah.
terrifying. But it was also something that I wanted. So it was like this weird tension of like I feel like the Holy Spirit is moving me in this direction. Um, Not necessarily that I'm going to become like this worship leader the rest of my life or something, but I felt like I had for so long been in the secret place of with the Lord worshiping,
Mm.
and He was moving me more to like a public place. Um, so there was that like tug of my heart of like, oh, I feel like this is where the Lord's calling me. And then there was also this part where I'm like, but I don't want to.
Yeah, it is a
It
sacrifice.
took
It is
a
a
while. Yeah. Let's see. I think I talked to Dan back in, it was like mid-February, and then
I
I
see you, Dan.
didn't actually join until the end of September.
Oh wow. Yeah.
It took a while.
Nice, nice. I'm sure there's a lot of people like you that have something to overcome to just go over that step. So like, what would you say to them? Like,
Mm. Well, okay, so there's a few things. I think something that has become a big part of my life, especially in recent years, is this idea of like joyful obedience, like joyful surrender.
yeah,
And so not just doing something because I'm like, God's calling me to do it, I'm gonna do it. But approaching that with like, this is an invitation, right? Like all of God's commandments and every time He calls you to do something, that's like a huge invitation. Um, and so just like, like a lot of my, like whenever it would come up in prayer, I just feel like, okay, God, like I'm willing, but I'm also not. And like, remember that guy in the Bible? He's like, I believe, but help my unbelief. And it was just kind of like that internal, like, I, my yes is already on the table, right? Because I had that moment in college where it was just like this point where I was like, okay, like, I know that I want to follow the Lord with the rest of my life, but how far am I willing to go with that?
mm,
Um, and it was a struggle. It was like 3 or 4 months of just like thinking about it and really wrestling with like, do I want to say yes to whatever He's going to call me to without knowing what that is first.
yeah, yeah.
And I finally did get to that place where I'm like, okay, whenever, wherever, like my yes is yes. but then the walking out that, right, is a little bit different.
Yeah, I guess, yeah. It's
Yeah.
I've definitely felt that tug where like, you can feel a calling, you can feel like God's calling you to something, and you're kind of like, it's like, but there's certain struggles there and blah blah blah, and it's like it's like, what do I do in this situation? Like I've definitely felt that, especially with serving, because like
Yeah.
it's a sacrifice, but it's really not, it's because it's like you're doing it for the God that you love, and like it's just really, really interesting. Hmm.
Yeah, with like service, it's I know I for me I feel like serving has never been a burden to me.
Yeah.
Um, but also maybe that's like a place that I'm spiritually gifted. I don't know. But there's other things like recently I've been thinking a lot about generosity
Hmm.
and um, just so like even with tithes and offerings, right? Like I'm like, okay, like I'm doing what the Lord called me to do, like 10%, check that off my list. But just
Yeah.
I've been thinking a lot recently about like, no, like that attitude is I don't think that attitude is from the Lord, where I'm like, okay, the barest minimum, that's what I'm gonna, check off and do.
Yeah.
Like I want an attitude that's like nothing I own is mine, right? Like I wanna I don't know, I wanna live a life where I'm like, you can take whatever, like my time, my resources, my talent, like whatever it is, like I want that to be for the Lord. But yeah, so serving for me is not the biggest struggle, but I totally have those places in my heart where I can see the joy in the fruit of what following Jesus would look like. But there's also that like, ugh.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, Luke was even challenging me the other day, our friend Luke, just saying, he was talking about the story of the Bible of the woman that gave, I think it was two, I can't remember what the currency was, but she gave
Might.
two. Yeah. And like the other people gave like a portion of their wealth, and Christ like really valued her because she just gave everything. She gave everything that she had, and time does really come into play, with that too.
Mm-hmm.
Um, yeah, and I really respect you for saying that, like with us, and like I think it's a big encouragement for the people that's watching that we should look at serving as a blessing. Really, it's something that we have a privilege of doing.
It really is though. Like it's such an honor. Like even well, we clean the church because I mean that's what I mostly do with New King. Um, it's it's fun, and I'm not that person that's like woohoo, like I'm gonna go vacuum. But there's something about it where I know that this is such a tangible thing that
Yeah,
is welcoming to other people because right like they're going to notice it when it's not clean.
yeah,
So it's like something I can do that is honoring to the people that are coming in and honoring to the Lord and also honoring to myself too, because I I feel almost selfish because I'm like, I get to like have in on this really cool, I don't know, way of expressing love in such
yeah,
a unique way. Um, yeah.
yeah, yeah. Wow, that's amazing. So, like, why is worship so important? Why do you think it's so important? Not just in the church, but just in general. Like,
Um, so worship, like it's hard. I think first you have to like, what is worship, right? So
mm,
there's this old, I think it's in the '90s song, right? Heart of Worship. And one of the lines that he has is, "I'll bring you more than a song for a song." No. But like that idea of like this is more. This is
yeah,
more than just singing or playing an instrument. And um, I know for years, like in my head, like those were interchangeable. Like that idea of like that's what worship is. That's. But I think even in the last like few years, just learning that it runs so much deeper than that, and it's really a position of the heart. And I love what he talks about it as like what you're ascribing awe to, what you're ascribing wonder to, like what you're paying attention to. And so we all worship, right? Like we all
Yeah.
have something or someone or things that we're worshiping.
Mm.
Um, and so we all have the capability to worship because we already are doing it. We were created for this.
Yeah.
Um, and
And it
so,
doesn't take long as well, right? It can be
no,
5 seconds. It could be like half an
yeah,
hour. It could be, we all do it in some shape or form. Like when we wake up or when we go to bed, you
yeah.
know?
And I think like it's interesting because I think like prayer and worship are really closely intertwined too.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, at least in my life, like those two have always really walked closely together. And so if I was like in calling other people into this place and this heart of worship, I think what I would challenge them first to do is just to spend some time with the Lord, like in silence before Him, asking that question of like, where am I directing, like already in my life, where am I directing my attention to, my awe and wonder, and would you like pull it back towards you? Um,
Yeah.
like so we can refocus on Him, and just having like that attitude, I think, is a really good place to start, because then suddenly you can be worshiping while you're washing the dishes, or
Yeah.
right, like it doesn't have to be a specific like time and place, or
Yeah.
it doesn't have to be what you're doing. Like I can worship just as much when I'm out on a run as when I'm at my piano. And
Yeah.
those places, it's really, I don't know, inviting the Lord into that space. And I've been thinking a lot recently about this idea of like the holy mundane, right? Like
Mm.
because we love Jesus, nothing is common anymore, because
Yeah.
they can all be places where we can invite Him in, right? And it's like, it's
Yeah.
so cool because, I don't know, now I'm talking a lot.
Oh no, this is great. Like, and I'm really resonating with what you're saying, because I feel like just seeing God in every aspect of your life is something that really helps with worship too. Because it's like I'll be washing the dishes, like, and like, it will go nice and smoothly, and that's God. Like, God is in every single thing. Like when it's sunny outside, but also when it rains too. Like, it's like when we see God in every single aspect of our lives, it just elevates your worship to a different level. Yeah. There was something else that I had that I thought of that really helped me to worship more, just generally. Um, yeah, I think like seeing God as your refuge. Like if you see God as your refuge and just rely on God for everything. And like I started to listen to the radio. Like there's this cool radio station called K-Love. It's 89.7 if any of you want to look it up. But yeah, and it's just got some cool Christian music, like old and new music, and I just listened to that, and it would just like brighten my day up, and just everything I looked at, I would just see God in it, like and just celebrate and worship everything that God has done. It's just so amazing. So, like, do you have a favorite song at the moment? Like, are you listening to any? That is a
Oh,
like,
no,
there's so much.
there literally is so much. So I sent you that playlist. So if I had, I don't know how many even songs there are, 100, 200 of my
Wow.
favorites. I
Wow.
think it's more of right now, it's more of a certain sound that I'm really loving.
Mm.
And it's it's almost like a stripped away sound. Um,
Yeah.
and then something that I really am looking for in worship songs recently is that space of honesty, um,
Mm.
and realness. And I think part of it is like that's where I'm beginning to become in my life. Of like, I don't have time for,
Yeah.
I don't want to have time for fakeness or trying to appear a certain way, right? Because that's something that I really struggle with is I want to appear spiritual or I want to appear, you know, whatever, adventurous, like literally insert the world instead of actually being that and embodying that. And but that's what I've been recently looking for in worship music. But yeah, it's I don't think I could pick a favorite. I don't even think I could pick a favorite artist right now. John Mark McMillan has recently resurfaced in a lot of my worship stuff. So.
Okay, I've got to write that one down, like check it out.
Yeah.
I've been listening to this weird group called they're called Big Daddy Weave. I don't know if you've heard of them.
I do, yeah.
It's such a weird name for a band, and I'm like, what is this? And then, but they have a song called Love, and I'm like, it's really been resonating with me lately. Like, it's got a like, you know, it's just so good, and it just reminds you the basics of like what Jesus taught. You know, love God and love your neighbors, and yeah, it's just great. You know,
that's a hard. Like figuring out, I don't know. I feel like I can talk about like, oh yeah, loving people, loving God. But like, what does that actually look like in reality? So that's interesting.
Yeah. And I really resonate with what you were saying about not faking it. Like, or sorry about the sign. I don't know if you can hear the sound. But yeah, just like, not faking it, because it's like, you know, putting your hand up in church. And I don't know if any of you out there feel like this, but like, it's like this anxious feeling like, should I be doing this? Should I be doing that? You know, is that right? You know, is that the right way to do it? And I think like letting go and just, you know, being yourself and just listening to God, and like, it's like, this is your moment to be with God. Like, this is the big moment where you're with God, you're worshiping him, you're presenting him to other people. And sometimes, you know, it can really get in the way if we're just thinking about what is the right thing. Like, what should I do this? Should I do that? You know? Yeah.
I mean, so our time on earth, this is our, like, we are eternal beings, right? Like, we're gonna live, for better or worse, right? That we're gonna live with the Lord, or, you know, depending on what you're putting your trust in, not, but we're going to live forever. There's a part of us that is going to continue on. But right now, like, our time on earth, this is the only time we'll ever have in all of eternity where we don't see Jesus face to face right now. You know, like, which is hard.
Yeah,
like,
definitely.
It sucks sometimes.
Yep.
You know, you're rubbing up with the I don't know, just the effects of like a broken system of the world. Like, even like just in things like personal, like I struggle with anxiety, and then like cyclical depression, and like there's stories of harm from like my past that I'm still working through and still figuring out, like, I don't know, what behaviors and things I want to take into adulthood. And I don't know, there's broken relationships and everything like that. And so you have that reality of just sin in the world and hurt and pain and all of that. But you also have this like a unique opportunity to love Jesus and partner with the Holy Spirit in a way that I don't think that we're going to have when we're in heaven. Heaven's going to be great. It's right. Like, it sounds pretty hype.
Yeah.
But at the same time, like, how cool is that? Like, I don't want to like bypass that part of my life. And I think with worship and prayer, for me, that's where those two things are like those I don't know, like the meeting spot between my small reality that I'm living in, the now but not yet, right? Like that small R reality that is my life, and then also like the big reality of like Christ has conquered all. Like we are, like, this is not our home. Ultimately, we're going to be able to spend an eternity with him worshiping. Like, what? That's crazy. Yeah, with like, countless best friends that we're gonna have. What a place of belonging and love and wholeness and like connection when we do see him face to face. But at the same time, on earth, like, this is such a unique opportunity.
I hear what you're saying. Like, it's like you're like, while we're here, we're really using our faith. Like, we're really like just putting our passion in faith in God. Like, because he's not here with us right now. We can't like see him, but we're like showing our faith and our like just looking up to him, like doing these crazy things. Well, crazy, like things because some people look at worship and think that's crazy, like like what are they really doing, like but it's just like acting like no one else is there. It's just you and God, just believing in him. And then when we get to heaven, we get to enjoy that with him right there. We get to see him. We get to just enjoy him and just, it's going to be epic.
I know.
It's going to be epic. Oh, okay. So where do you think God's leading you to now? Like, we're in an interesting time now, and going into the future's kind of unknown. So where do you think like this is going? Where's God taking you with this?
I like that question. That's a good one. Well, a couple of things. So I think there's like something that I've been praying about a lot is like, where is God leading the church? Not just New King, but the church, the Western church particularly, because I think we've had these ways of doing church that have worked in the past, but I don't know if they're going to work in the future. Which is hard, right? Like, it's kind of hard to give that up. And I think there's going to be grief around that. But God doesn't ever like leave us alone, right? Like, he doesn't, I don't know. He calls us to new things too. So I think with just like something that I've been continually praying about a lot is, okay, like, where are you leading New King Church? But also just the Church of like New England, and then also the US, like Western. And like, how can I be a part of that? Because I don't want to cling too tightly to something that, I mean, I grew up in the church, right? Like I grew up going to Sunday services and having that order of like worship and then preaching, and then like there was like structure in that, and I think there was goodness in that, but also maybe God, and maybe I could be wrong, but maybe God is doing something new. Maybe he's like leading us into something new. So I want to be a part of that. And so I think just personally, like, that's part of it. And then also like looking towards the future, I don't know where God is leading me. I know where he's leading me in this moment. And it was so cool because like maybe a year and a half ago, was when and I want to be really careful before I say like, I heard the Lord, I believe that I was hearing the Lord, that he was leading me personally into more of a public space with worship. And then he did, like, and it was really cool because it was with New King for a while, and I got to lead worship at the summer camp, like help lead worship at the summer camp, and then I was a co-leader at another summer camp for like a week. I got to do some like, even some online like 24-hour burn stuff. Yeah, it was really cool, and it was awesome, and it was like scary, terrifying.
Yeah, I bet.
Yeah. And then in this past like quarantine to like social distancing, like I haven't had those opportunities as much, some online
Yeah.
stuff, but and so it feels like God is again like bringing me to this place of like focusing on being with Him in the secret place right now.
Mm.
And I think that there's something that I'm trying to think of the scripture, but it talks about doing things with excellence. And so
Yeah.
that's what I feel like where God is calling me to do right now. So even with just like learning more music theory so I can better my piano playing, or I've been working on like different vocalization stuff like that. I want to be able to do things with excellence.
Yeah.
And so that's what I've been working on. And not that you can't worship if you're, I don't know, like again, we're all called to worship, so you
Yeah.
don't have to be like this super like musical talented person.
Yeah.
But I think that there is something that holds a lot of goodness, and the idea of like this is something that I so treasure
Yeah.
and want to honor, like the Lord with, and also invite other people in, that I'm going to take the time to practice and to hone that craft.
Yeah.
So that's personally like where I am right now. I don't know where I'm going to go with that, but it's
Great,
where
great.
I am.
Yeah, great. It sounds good to me. It really does sound good to me. And like I've just like enjoyed speaking to you. I feel like the verse where in Ephesians where it talks about when being saved, we get like a song in our hearts, right? I just really see that in you. Like it's not even about just the instruments, and it's not just about worshiping. It's like it just read there's a song and we know what that song is. It's Jesus. Like it's that song, and it's just always there, and I see that in you, and I thank you for being on the show.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, thanks for taking the time to do this. And this has been the first episode. This has been interesting. I hope you guys in the comments have got like a good look into different people's lives, and we're going to be talking about more different subjects, and I'd love to have you back on the show, like if you want to come back and
Oh
talk
my
about
gosh,
something
yes.
else or anything. But
Yeah,
yes,
I would do that.
you would. Yeah.
I so would do that. I
Yeah.
enjoyed talking with you.
Comment in the comments if you want Hannah back on the show.
Just like, no.
Just yeah. So I don't even know how to end this. Okay, so I guess like you guys, I hope you've enjoyed this, and let's move on to the next one. Just turn on that notification bell if you want to hear more, because I'm not going to be telling you guys when I'm going to be posting these things. I'm just going to drop them whenever and however I want to drop them. So yeah, take care, guys.
A man with a plan without a plan.
Yeah, exactly.
Like it.
Exactly. So yeah,
Sorry, go ahead.
go ahead.
Do we want to pray to
Yes.
close it out?
Let's pray. Okay. Do we both want to say a prayer?
Sure.
Let me start off. So, Father, thank you for this time that we have here. Just connecting with friends, like even in this troubling time. And we really see you. We really see your work in us, and we hope that you continue to work in Hannah, in her life, as she continues her quest into sharing her passion for the Lord through music and through serving in the church. And I just like to lift Hannah up, in this time, that she might find different ways to move in this time in the music field, and just any other field in general. So in Jesus' name I pray, amen.
Jesus, you're so good. Thank you for this time. Lord, I just ask specifically for anyone who might watch this, that you would, even right now, just stir their hearts towards excitement and the joy of being with you, that you would call them to those deeper places, and show them where in their life that they can they can offer up to you as a living sacrifice. And Father, we love you so much.
Yes. Yep.
We love you. We love you so much. And so I
Yes.
just ask that you would take this conversation and use it how you want to use it. And also, I just pray a blessing over every single person who's watching, that this, even in the next few days, Lord, that you would start speaking to them in a way that maybe they haven't heard before, that you would open up their ears and their heart to better receive you. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen. All right, that was great. That was amazing. I feel energized for the rest of this day. And I would just like to sign out by saying thank you guys for watching, and let's continue to explore our unknown years.
Yeah. Cool. Cool.